Started. We've got Pete Price and Dan Sage. Thank you. I will forget. Dan Sage, Pete Price here in the studio. We're going to be talking to them in just a few minutes as we move from hour number 1 of the program to hour number 2. It's a sweet spot that I restart the recording before I start talking. 98.1 WUDR, student-run radio at the University of Dayton.
How do you want to have it roll out as far as live music? Or
it's totally your
talking?
call. If you like to jump into a song, we can start with the song and then talk, or go. Usually it's good to go back and forth.
Yeah.
But I defer to the artist, right? Some
Okay.
people like to jump right into a song. Some people would rather chat a little first.
Okay.
Do you have a preference?
Let's jump right in and play a song, and then we can talk.
great.
Be great.
That works perfectly for me. You probably recognize this song.
I do. Yeah,
I'm
this
going to
is-
turn it down a little bit because our friends at Facebook are like, do you have the rights to that? And it's just a really difficult situation to convince them that the artist was here in the studio, therefore I had permission. But if I just turn it down, then these won't capture it so much.
Okay. If you need me to sign something to give you permission, I'm happy to do it.
Careful what you ask for, Pete.
Sign this blank piece of paper.
But I also can't complain, right? That if Facebook is actually paying artists for their music or their art that's being shared, that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not. At all.
So I know people will complain about, well, I wanted to share this with people. It's like, well, you really should pay the artist that. Yeah, Facebook has many problems, as do all social media companies have one problem or another. But I do appreciate that they are at least being considerate for artists.
Yeah, I appreciate that too. It's so hard to, get paid for this these days.
Oh,
that,
yes.
You just have to perform a whole bunch in order to make any kind of money doing this. So.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
And I'm lazy.
What? No, that can't be. That can't be.
Shy?
So this is what the follow-up to Department of the Interior?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct.
Now,
Yeah.
is it of the Interior? Do I have that right?
Yes, you
okay.
do.
Okay.
Department of the Interior.
Which
Just like the government agency.
although your songs are about emotions, right? They're about interior to people,
That's exactly
not the
right.
government agency.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
And so, like, I've been Diamonds in the Sky still plays on occasion.
Okay.
I'll probably take that out of the higher rotation and put one of the new songs in.
Okay.
Is there a particular song that you would really like to be pushed?
What, like your listenership? What does your listenership like?
Boy,
Is it
we play a lot of
eclectic?
indie, a lot of rock.
Yeah.
Gosh, we play a fair amount of classic rock and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to go live in about 40 seconds.
Okay. I'll think.
Yeah.
of it.
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Just let me know, because then I will put it into what we call heavy rotation.
Okay.
I put a couple of songs that I liked just into medium and light rotation because I could. But-
really, whatever you like is okay with
Oh,
me.
well, then you're too kind. I mean, I really liked Helen and Grace. I liked Better Angels. I like Second Chance. But gosh, it's just my pick. Here we go. You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative here on WUDR, Flyer Radio from the University of Dayton. We are music in all directions. Support your local music scene. How you doing? We are into hour number 2 of your Tuesday afternoon alternative, and I am so excited. I have Pete Price and Dan Sage here in the studio. We're going to talk about Pete's new record, Pictures in Time, but first we're going to kick things off with a song. What do you got for us, Pete?
This one is called This Time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I've been away a long, long time, walking on a trail half blind, looking for the path that led straight back to me. And in the night I came upon a road that led to a new dawn. This time it will be different for me. I found a heart that's strong, I should have known it all along. I'm gonna try again to let this one light shine. I'm gonna live a life that's free, and I'll be who I've got to be. This time it will be different for me. Roll away the barricade that hid my heart. Let the light shine out for all to see. I'm done with all the pain, I'm gonna try to live again. This time it will be different for me. I've struggled with the truth to come to know myself, accepting both the good times and the bad. What's done is done, and what's to come reveals itself. I'll take whatever comes and give it all I have. It doesn't matter what you say, I have to go and find my way, and pay no mind to what you say and think of me. No longer living in the past, I'm gonna make this moment last. This time it will be different for me. This is not goodbye, this is hello, my friend. We'll have to search for truth the best we can. As we go along, we'll find the voice to sing our song. This time it will be different for me. This time it will be different. This time it will be different. This time it will be different for me.
Oh, that's just lovely, lovely. Pete Price, Dan Sage here in the studio. We're going to talk about Pete's new record, Pictures in Time, play a few tracks from the album as well. Thank you guys so much for coming in today.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having us.
I've got to say, Pete, you've got a great voice.
Oh, thanks.
The texture in your voice is just terrific. Have you always sang?
Yeah, I've sung from a very early age. I started singing in church choir, and my father was an Episcopal minister who had the church down at it's on First Street between Ludlow and Monument, Christ Episcopal Church, and I was a pretty rambunctious kid, so he found a lot of things to keep me occupied, and one was the church choir. So I had a stern old English choir master who kind of taught me the ropes of singing, and actually I found out that I could sing fairly well, and it sort of launched my love of singing.
You have incredibly clear diction, right? Now, I wonder if that's the church, right? The choir effect, right? You're being very precise, being very careful with what you're singing and how you're singing it. But you have really great phrasing as you sing. You know how all too often it's easy to slur or to slide.
Oh, yeah.
And some of that is, of course, great for effect. But sometimes it gets in the way of just singing. I think you have really clear voice. Is that something that you have purposely worked on, or did that just come about through your choir experience?
I think I've worked on it to a certain extent, just because to me lyrics are probably the most important part of the song. I grew up and kind of cut my teeth playing the guitar with Bob Dylan songs, and just loved his lyrics so much. And so I try to write in that vein. I mean, every song that I write, maybe not every, but like 95% of them mean something, if only to me. So I look at the lyrics as something that I'm fairly good at, but I also want the listener to be able to hear and understand the lyrics.
So is that because there's a message that you want to get across, or is it just that you want people to hear the words?
Well, for instance, both Department of the Interior, my first album, and then Pictures in Time, kind of tell a story. The songs do mean things, and most of them are. I try to drop little hints into the songs about, maybe the struggles that I've had, and I put many of them in first person, and maybe the struggles that I've had and how I've been able to surmount them. And, one thing that it does, I hope anyway, is that it allows the listener to know that they're not alone. That if they're struggling with that same kind of situation or circumstance, that here's somebody else that has also struggled with it and maybe found a reasonable answer, and maybe not, but at least they know that there are other people out there that are dealing with the same kind of issues that they are.
That's powerful. I mean, that's kind. Right? That sense of community, connection, establishing those social bonds, right? That's so important. We're all too familiar with really concerning information and statistics about people struggling with their emotional and mental health. Something like this can be really helpful for someone.
Yeah, for me, playing songs with Pete that he has written, it's less about the message, and it's a lot more about there's imagery in there.
Yeah.
And you recognize those images, you see them in your own life, and they become very personal. And so Pete has a way of connecting into that. And I know for me, a lot of these songs they're very close to things that I've experienced as well. So it's more than just his artistry. It now becomes part of me.
And that's got to be just really wonderful to hear. Right, that somebody takes some solace or some comfort from a song that you wrote.
Yes, it actually is very affirming for me that I'm creating a resonance at some level with other people, and it kind of keeps me doing what I'm doing, because I feel like not only am I helping myself by writing these songs, but I'm also hopefully helping other people by the writing of the songs and them being able to listen to those. So,
would you say that's one of your motivations, that you want to write a song that would be helpful for yourself as well as for other people?
yes, of course, and it's probably a principal motivation, because at my stage of life, you know, I'm 71 years old now, and there's not a lot out there that I really aspire to anymore. This is kind of icing on the cake for me, and I'm in that phase of my life where I feel like I can be a bit of a teacher, and that it's the phase of life where I want to give back to, you know, other people, to society in general, and this is kind of a gift that I've been given that allows me to do that.
Right. When did you write your first song? Do you remember the first song that you wrote?
Yeah, it was a song called Wanderlust, and I was probably in high school, maybe a sophomore or junior, and this was back in the late 60s, early 70s, when everybody was hitchhiking everywhere.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I was hitchhiking from Dayton to Colorado and to St. Louis and Chicago and up on the East Coast, and, you know, a lot of times, like, wouldn't have any homework for the weekend, and so a friend of mine and I would just stick out our thumbs and decide to go to Chicago or something like that. And
Right.
I don't know why our parents allowed us to do these things, but they did.
Wow.
So it was really something. And so Wanderlust was just a song about the freedom that you feel when you're just out there on the road and traveling around with no particular destination.
Well, do you think we could get another song before we jump to some of the album?
Sure, of course. How about Helen and Grace?
Well, I'm excited to hear that choice just because I love the song.
It's a song about in a way, it's a song about impulse control.
Really?
But it's also about how there are just different voices inside of you, and I use the metaphor of two different women to try to convey the message of this song. So, Helen and Grace, and Helen is spelled with two L's. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I met a woman named Helen, she looked so fine. I could not keep her image out of my mind. Her vision beckoned in the dark of the night. The thoughts I've been thinking, they just ain't right. I got to take care, 'cause they say she's the hurting kind. Now I have a good friend named Grace, she's been there for me. Grace can bring me joy effortlessly. She raises me up when I'm feeling down. When I need her most, she is often around. And when I can't find her, it's just that I'm too blind to see. So fly away, fly away. I'll give you worth and lights if you just come with me. But I got lost in the shuffle, 'cause high cars start falling my way. I fell for Helen, now I have no saving grace. not perfect, I'd settle for just being good. But I can't make myself do the things that I should. I try to forget about Helen, but she keeps dragging me down. And when she gets near, my sweet Grace just won't stick around. Could Helen and Grace just be two different states of my mind? I long for Helen when I'm cold and lonely at night. I want sweet Grace when my life's a disgrace, but now she won't show her face. It looks like I'm stuck in the darkness of Helen's embrace. Fly away, fly away. You won't find nothing but sorrow if you plan to stay. So don't get caught in the bright lights. You'll find that it's just not your place. If you fall for Helen, you'll find no saving grace. If you fall for Helen, you'll find no saving grace.
Oh, that is just terrific. Really, really loving that. Pete Price here in the studio talking about his new album, Pictures in Time, songwriting, singing, and kind of everything in between. Dan Sage here as well, singing and playing the guitar. Let's give these gentlemen a little bit of a break and listen to some of Pete's excellent record, which we'll talk about after you hear The Balance and Better Angels. You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative on WUDR Dayton, rockin' the Gem City.
Nice.
And we're out.
Great, great.
Just enough so that we can hear it. Okay. I don't want to get caught up in the conversation. I'm like, I forgot to take care of business. Oh, that's lovely. You guys are good together. Dan, did you sing on the record?
No, I didn't sing on the record. I did play one acoustic part.
Yeah.
That was on there. We appear as a duo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Forgive
we
me.
appear as a duo. Pete and I met each other in second grade.
Oh, say what?
Yeah, we met each other in second grade.
Oh, no, I heard you. I was just being silly.
And at different times, we pick up the guitar, not together, but separately, and somehow or another, over the years, we've kind of been connected.
Wow,
through
so
that.
your chemistry is, I was going to say hard fought, but that's not the right phrase to use. It's something that you guys have.
It's organic.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, since second grade, I have a dear friend. And we won't talk about this too long, but we've been each other's best men twice.
Okay.
So, and for me, it's like it either works out this time. I'm not doing it again, because then I have to admit the problem's me. But it's kind of interesting that we realize that we have been friends for like 40 years. I suspect you guys break that record, but
Well, yeah, it's
over 60.
Good grief.
64 years.
That's impressive. To still like each other after all that? No, I'm teasing. I'm just being mean-spirited.
No, you're not. That's a good joke.
You're too kind. Yeah, it's the easy joke, isn't it? It is such a dad joke. Where's my daughter to shame me into?
Yeah, she would call you out.
Oh yeah, she would.
Dad humor.
And she'd be right to do so. I warn my students, but I still get groans in the room, and then
You just can't help it.
they realize I
It's
still got
It's part
it.
of your job. It's part of your role to get that groan.
Well, right. I mean, and if it makes them stop thinking about all the bazillion things as students that they have to do in probably a very short time frame, then I did my job, right? You know, that's part of what we do as teachers, is to try to lighten that load, or at least help our students figure out how to manage it.
Sure.
But no, enough about me. Wow, second grade. That's phenomenal. Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
thanks.
that's
I mean,
wonderful.
A couple years ago, Pete was wanting to get his music out, and he was thinking about doing a solo
Yeah.
thing, and he contacted me and said we might be better as a duo, because we've sung together on different things.
Oh yeah. That high harmony part was lovely. That you
And,
did.
Dan's a great singer. He's a better singer than I am.
Oh, okay.
He
Well
really
then,
is.
well, where's Dan? Okay, Dan, where's your record? No,
I haven't hit that phase yet.
you should though. You do have a lovely voice. I mean,
Yes.
granted, I'm hearing you're harmonizing, but I have no doubt that that's the case. And whenever I talk to musicians, the one lesson that comes out from everybody, I know it sounds like a bad slogan, just do it. Get out there and make the record, right? If you have some music in you, you need to share it.
Well,
And now that I feel like I've wagged my finger at you,
that's cool.
but no, you do harmonize very well. You guys do sing very well together, and that organic chemistry is definitely, I think it's evident when you listen to it.
Yeah. We have a duo called the Fairview Stringers, and we went to Fairview Elementary School up in Dayton View.
Okay.
And that's where we met each other in
Yeah,
second
yeah.
grade. So, you know, we were casting about for a name, and
Right.
Dan said, "Well, how about the Fairview Stringers?" And I'm like, "That's perfect."
Done.
So we are the Fairview Stringers, and we don't play that often. We try to play at least once a month.
Yeah.
And the Kroger down at Cornerstone, down at
Oh, yeah.
Whip, and
Yeah.
or not Whip, at Wilmington and
yeah.
Feedwire. They've booked us every month for, gosh, I don't know, the last 2 years or so.
Ooh.
You know, we're just very popular down there, and I don't know whether we're just lazy or what, or busy, or
Right.
you know, because when you're recording and putting out an album, that takes a lot of time.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
So-
of course.
So once a month for me is pretty good. And I'm in another band called the Fries Band, which is it's a cover band that and we do like 3, 4, 5-part harmonies. We're basically a vocal band
Wow.
that plays instruments.
Yeah.
And so we're real popular down south in the south of Dayton, and we get up here every once in a while to the center of the city or up to Troy or something like that. But
Well, I'm definitely gonna have to. I've seen adverts for the Fries Band, not for your acoustic duo, but
PetePriceMusic.com.
but I'll definitely keep my eyes open.
yeah,
That's very cool.
We saw
When he offered the opportunity to play with him and do some of his original music, I
Yeah.
was like, I've actually said, no, we're not just going to do covers, we're going to do your originals as well.
Right.
Like, let's work more of them in. He's like, oh, okay. No, we're going to work more of them in.
Do you write songs too, Dan?
Not yet.
Okay.
Like, I just retired, this week? Or not this week, this year.
this year, yeah,
And I'm
first
like,
of the year,
I'll get around to it.
yeah.
Well, you may have a little more time now.
Yeah. It's kinda
I look
neat.
forward to that part of my future. I've got a little ways to go yet. A few days ago, I just turned 59, but it's in the near future, as you know, closer than it used to be.
Are you going to go all the way to 65?
I'm not sure yet. It kind of depends how things shake out.
Yeah.
With the university.
Oh, right, yeah.
But then also with just where we are. I'm always afraid whenever I look at the market, it seems like that's when things have gone down.
Yeah.
And while
as soon as you retire.
I've moved into some more conservative investments, there's still market fluctuations, unfortunately. Okay, about 40 seconds.
Those damn fluctuations.
Yeah, a few years ago, like everybody else, I was like, things are going really well, and then they weren't.
Yeah. And it happens quicker than you can adjust to it.
Holy Moses.
You know, it's already over by the time you even know about it.
Oh, it's just a correction. It'll come back now. It's on its way down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that word means what they think it means. About 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Mics are hot. Better Angels from Pete Price here on your Tuesday afternoon alternative. I am joined by the author of that song. Pete Price is here with Dan Sage in the studio. We're talking about his new album, Pictures in Time. And I know you said in your one sheet here that the songs on the record are like a personal evolution. It's like chronologically speaking as well as emotionally speaking. Like there's a protagonist or there's a central character who develops over time. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yes, one of the things that, because I'm old enough to remember the artistry of an album as opposed to releasing singles, and the album was, a coherent thought. All the songs, if it was really well put together, the songs fit together, and possibly told a story. And I didn't, sometimes as a writer, you don't know what you've written until you've written it and you've gotten to listen to it or digest it a little bit, and then you kind of have this moment where you say, oh, well, that's what I meant by that. You don't really know, it comes out of you. And then later on you kind of put it in perspective. So when I realized that these songs really had a logical order of going from a person who struggled in life, had interpersonal conflicts and balances with life and work, and relationship issues and stuff like that, I decided I'm going to put those songs first, and then that person's life gets better, and the songs are a good relationship, a good marriage, good relationships with your kids, good relationships with places, and then toward the end of the album, it starts going back to a person who's older and hopefully wiser, and being somewhere down the path, but still on the path, still looking for answers, but also smart enough or aware enough to know that you'll never know all the answers.
Right.
Right. You'll die and move on to hopefully another state of being, not having figured everything out, and that's okay.
Well, and that's a especially powerful point, I think, because the last song, The Road Ahead, right? Even though the person has overcome a number of life challenges and problems and issues, things aren't done, right? There's still more to do, more to see, more to experience, right? The road continues, right? The road ahead, not like the end. Right, and can't say that without thinking about the Beatles, but still, I think that's an especially hopeful way to end the record.
Yes, and I thought about calling that song The Road That I'm On, or The Road I'm On, because what's important is the step that you're taking right now. You don't want to think too far ahead in the future. You can plan and everything, but it's really important that you stay in the moment and you enjoy the life that you're living right here and right now. So
yeah, I'm curious what have been your musical inspirations, or what songs, bands, albums have kind of helped inspire you to make music?
Well, it really all started for me. I mean, I listened to music, bought 45s, and the Marvelettes, and all the old early Motown stuff, and even things like The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. I think that was one of the early records that I bought, a 45. And we had tons of 45s. But then the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show, and I saw that, and my life really changed.
So you would say that, like, seeing the Beatles on Ed Sullivan was a pivotal moment in your life?
I'd say so, yes. Because all of a sudden, it just sort of made music much more personal to me. You know,
okay.
much more accessible.
Yeah.
Here are these guys, and they're, you know, not much older than, I mean, I was only 11 or so, but not much older than me.
Right.
And, you know, here they are. They're on Ed Sullivan, and look at those girls. They're going crazy.
We all take inspiration where we can.
That's right. That's right.
Well, and then beyond the Beatles, what else influenced you?
Oh, gosh. After the Beatles, I probably joined my first band in 6th grade. And I only was even offered to be in this band because I could sing. And so I joined this band, and I didn't know how to play an instrument, and it didn't last very long. But it kind of got in my blood, and I decided I'm going to learn how to play the guitar. And so around 6th or 7th grade, I got my first guitar and started scrapping around on it. And Bob Dylan's music was very accessible. It was easy to play, and the lyrics meant something to me. And so even though I, you know, was maybe too young to understand some of it, but, you know, like songs like Blowin' in the Wind and Mr. Tambourine Man.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
You know, great songs, beautifully written. And so I started learning Bob Dylan songs and singing those, and I, you know, would play the guitar and sing and play a harmonica, and that was sort of how I improved a little bit. And then as time went on, the Allman Brothers became a huge influence because they had this sort of this blend of rock and blues and jazz that I'd never heard anything like it. And Dwayne Allman, his guitar playing was amazing. Dickie Betts, no slouch either. So I became a huge Allman Brothers fan. And you know, as it's gone on, I mean, I've been in the Fry's band for 33 years. And
That's a long time.
it's a long time.
It's a long time to be in any band.
Yeah, and so, you know, stuff like Crosby, Stills and Nash and James Taylor and America, you know, all of those bands that do wonderful vocals and wonderful harmonies, you know, kind of were bands that I listened to. But I've also kept kind of an indie vein because I like writing my own music, and I think my own music is more sort of in a folk or indie kind of Americana kind of vein.
Right.
And, so I've always had that going for me too. You know, things like Batdorf and Rodney. I don't know if you know them or not, but
I don't.
Okay, Batdorf and Rodney. Do you want to tell Art about Batdorf and Rodney, Dan? Or?
There's a young man here in Beaver Creek by the name of John Batdorf, and he was inspired by the Beatles, thought he was really going to be great, ran out to the West Coast and found out that everybody out there plays guitar.
Right.
So he hooked up with a guy named Mark Rodney, and they put out their first album called Off the Shelf, I believe, in 1971. And it's two acoustic guitars. These guys are phenomenal guitar players, and they sing well together, and John Batdorf's writing it's really something. And it influenced us both. It was one of those stop everything, what was that we just heard
Right.
again type of thing. And it still affects us that way today.
I'm gonna have to explore that.
Oh yeah.
I have great music FOMO. I know there's great music out there that I haven't heard, and I really want to. I want to hear it.
You will not be disappointed.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the suggestion.
Sure.
Well, I should take a moment and pay the bills. You're listening to your Tuesday afternoon alternative on WUDR Dayton. Rockin' the Gem City, music in all direction. Support your local music scene. We're here with Dan Sage and Pete Price talking about Pete's new record, Pictures in Time. Can I get you guys to play another song for us?
Sure.
Absolutely.
This one is called Long Lake. This is a lake that I've been going to with my family for well over 60 years. And so it's a place that's very dear to my heart. Ready? 1, 2, 3. last forever, I'd stay right here without a care. Watch the clouds slowly gather. Oftentimes I find my mind going there. Light a fire, brew some coffee, grab a book and find my chair. Watch the sun dancing on the water. In these troubled times my heart takes me there. Reach the dock, test the water. Somehow it feels warmer than the air. Early June, it takes my breath. Oftentimes I find my mind wandering there. It's been oh so many years ever since I was a boy. We'd point the car true north and hit the road. Just knowing in this changing world a place like that remains keeps me going, helps me ease my heavy load. In the boat, tie on a lure, hope it's right today to fool a fish. Say a prayer for him who taught me how to be a man, to hope, to dream, to wish. Last night the mercury dropped to 37. Fog rises from the lake in early sun. It's good enough for me to feel like heaven. Place my ashes here when my day is done. It's been oh so many years ever since I was a boy. We'd point the car true north and hit the road. Just knowing in this changing world a place like that remains keeps me going, helps me ease my heavy load. If today could last forever, I'd stay right here without a care. Watch the clouds slowly gather. In these troubled times my mind wanders there. When I search for strength my heart takes me there. When I yearn for peace my soul leads me there.
Oh, that's just lovely. And I love the positivity in that song, right? That a place could speak so powerfully, could mean so much to somebody. That's really powerful. That's really cool.
I tried to write a song about Long Lake for many years and was unsuccessful. And then finally, about a year and a half ago, I wrote this song and I was happy with it. So I finally went to the writing device of just writing about the things that I saw in my mind about the place, what an everyday experience it was, and then just made pictures out of the words. And I mean, that's pretty much how I wrote that song.
Well, I know we are quickly running out of time. We need to talk about the record. Could you walk us through making the record? Like who worked on it with you? How did you produce and mix the record?
Sure. After performing the CD release for Department of the Interior, I had this idea that I'd like to make a band album with the Price Brothers Band, which is the band that I've put together to perform my live music on a larger scale. And the Price Brothers consists of Dan and Casey Davis on lead guitar, Matt Schulp, who's also in the Fry's band with me, on bass, and Steve Phelps, who is in a bunch of bands, including the Fry's. He's in Nasty Bingo as well. He's our drummer. And let's see, who am I forgetting? Jeff Tutt, who is the keyboard player, but also Jeff is multi-talented. He was my engineer and co-producer for this album, and we recorded most of the tracks in my basement. We were able to set up a sound booth for the acoustic guitars and for the vocals, and also for John Lardenois, who also was on about, I think, 8 or 9 songs on the album, and John is a phenomenal violin player. And so we recorded most of the tracks in my basement, and then we went to First Flight Studio in Fairborn to record the drums. And because it was just so much easier, the drum set was already set up and mic'd, and so we were able to Jeff took his computer out there, and we just recorded the drums through their system. So it took a long time to come together, and I think when you make an album, basically anytime you work with volunteers, and these guys are like very talented volunteers.
Right.
You are on their schedule, and you just get together with them when they have time, and when they're ready. So it took well over a year to just do the tracking for the album. But one of the things that I've been trying to learn is patience, and this was a really good way to learn patience, because it took forever to get the tracking done. But then we mixed it down. Jeff did a phenomenal job of mixing, and he took a shot at mastering, and we sent it over to Sean Haney, and we had Sean also master it, and then Jeff took it back over and put a few finishing touches on it, and we were done. And so it releases on June the 1st, and our CD release show at Yellow Cab is on June the 8th. So I hope your listeners will think about coming out for that.
Well, and I appreciate you reminding us, because these days we all have a million things on our calendars and so many things to do. So when it comes out on the 1st, will it be available like through every means, whether Bandcamp or iTunes or streaming or whatever?
Yes, it'll be up on Spotify and iTunes, and at least that's the plan. And I don't have physical CDs in my hand yet, but I don't see anything that's going to keep us from hitting that date. So I'll have CDs, and also all the streaming. It should be out on all the streaming services on June the 1st, and so cross my fingers and hope people like it.
Do you have a website or anything like that to
Yes.
direct people to?
Yeah.
What's your website?
It's PetePriceMusic.com, so it's pretty easy. PetePriceMusic.com.
Well, and we'll of course put up links on our social media and our website. Oh gosh, of course. Happy to help get the word out. Well, I'm going to let these gentlemen take a drink of water here. We're going to listen to another song from Pictures in Time. I Think I'm in Love. Okay. Anything you want to say about that before I play it, Pete?
Well, this song is probably the most autobiographical song on the album, because it's about, and I like to write about my wife because she's an angel. But it was about kind of how we met, and how I wasn't really looking for somebody, but boy, it didn't take me long to have my socks knocked off. So this was a song that I wrote about her.
And we're clear.
Okay.
Very good. You guys are a great interview.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
No yes, no answers.
We
Which is a weird way to say it.
we try to provide as much information as we can.
And I should have asked you about, you had mentioned the show before, but I'm glad that you reiterated that, because one of the things I like to do is write up a little bit on our website about, hey, here's an album that I think everybody should get a listen to. Here's a couple of thoughts, just to try to wet people's whistle, so to speak, get them kind of energized about it. So I'll definitely be doing that, and I'll share a link with you once that goes live.
That'll be great.
Try to do that like at least a few days to like a week before the album releases on the 1st. So try to get that done, like something like May 30th or a little bit earlier than that would of course be preferable.
Sure.
Try to get closer to that week mark.
Yeah. If you need the link to the Yellow Cab site for tickets, I can send.
Oh,
that
please
to
do.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I am happy to be shameless and trying to get people to go to shows.
Thank you. Thank you.
And what was you guys played this time Helen and Grace, excuse me, and then
Long Lake.
thank you.
It's nice.
I'm trying to stay up on that.
Great. Yep.
Because that's important too.
Absolutely.
Because that's got to go into my report, which will also say very nice things about both of you. The word report sounds like ominous, right? It's like, no, it's just okay. What songs did they play? Because we've got to report that, so that gets into the consortium for royalties and things like that. So even if, for example, you play a cover, I've got to say they played this cover.
Sure, of course, yeah.
That you would not necessarily receive that. I don't know if they split automatic versus mechanical royalties and things like that. Like songwriter versus performer.
Okay.
But
I've never received any royalties for playing somebody else's song.
yeah.
I've
mean
played
that
a
is.
bunch of them.
Oh dear Lord, you'd have to have a certain Taylor Swiftian level, I think, to see any money on something like that.
Yeah.
And most of the time, those kind of royalties are going to people who played on the original recording, not people who are covering it on like a show.
Right.
But I've heard tell of some people occasionally getting some money from something like that, but that's at astronomical levels.
Yeah.
That's not most musicians, I think. So let's see. We should probably come in and do a wrap up. Hit people with your website again. Remind them about the release on the 1st, the show on the 8th. Any other shows you have coming up, or any other projects you want to remind people of. All of that is perfectly welcome here.
Okay. That'll be great.
So 10 seconds. Mics are hot. And indeed, Matt and Tesha are right. This is your Tuesday afternoon alternative on WUDR Dayton. Rockin' the Gem City, music in all directions. Support your local music scene. I'm joined today by Pete and Dan. Pete Price has a great new record, Pictures in Time, releases on June 1st. There is a celebration for the album on June 8th at the Yellow Cab Tavern. Is anybody playing with you? Who's all playing on the show?
I'm going to start out with about 5 songs of, just acoustic guitar and voice.
Right.
And then Dan and I are in a band called the Fairview Stringers. We're a duo, and we play wine bars and the Kroger down at Wilmington and Feedwire at Cornerstone. And we're called the Fairview Stringers, and so the Fairview Stringers are going to play about 10 songs, and then the Price Brothers are going to get up and they're going to do the rest of the night. So music will start sometime between 8 and 8:30 on June the 8th, and we'll go until probably 11ish, and it should be a very, very good show. And we're going to play songs from both the new album Pictures in Time and also my first album, which is called Department of the Interior. So I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of smiling faces in the audience out there, because that makes my job a lot more fun.
Oh, I bet. Without a doubt. And you expect to have CDs at the show, you think?
Yes, I'll have CDs at the show, and I haven't done any T-shirts for this album, but I have T-shirts for the old
Oh, there you
Department
go.
of the
There you
Interior and some other swag. So yeah, we'll have these CDs there, and hopefully we can sell a few of them.
Well, we've got about 4 minutes left. Any chance you've got a song that fits like 3.5 to 4 minutes, roughly speaking?
I think so. Let's do one that's not on the album, okay? We're gonna do one called Seventh Road, Seventh House, and this, if I put out another album, God willing,
This will be on
this will
there?
probably be on there. So this will be a preview of what might be in the future for us.
I'm not terribly sure this has been actually played outside of Pete's basement. This
Ooh.
could be a reveal.
This is a world
is.
premiere.
It is.
Total reveal.
And we'll see how good I am on it. But
Oh, you'll be great.
ready? 1, 2. On the road I stopped at the 7th house. The woman I knew came out to greet me. A life would end on the 7th hour that day. 7 roads and 7 wonders. I felt my world being torn asunder. Was she there to take my pain away? It ain't for nothing I walk the road, pull the sledge with a heavy load. I can't wait to lay this burden down. When I die, I'll die alone. Empty house, no one home. Ask the Lord to go without a sound. The morning smelled like sun and rain. When old Red Eye showed his face again, I felt the earth pulling on my shoes. The wind and storms in my black soul, an angry prophet read the roll. You again, I thought I'd paid those dues. Now here I am at the 7th house, at the 7th hour, neath the setting sun, looking back, remembering what had been. I don't see no 7 wonders, all I see are the many blunders coming from a life been lived in sin. I fling my pain from the mountaintop, wash my sins as November rain. Hope they blow away so I'll survive. But if a man doesn't walk the road, bear the brunt of his heavy load, how's he even know if he's alive? It ain't for nothing I walk the road, pull the sledge with a heavy load. I can't wait to lay this burden down. But when I die, I'll die alone. Empty house, no one home. Ask the Lord to go without a sound. When I got to the 7th house, the woman I knew came out to greet me. Had I died on the 7th hour that day?
Laughing at myself. Not all of them. Don't grab all of them.
You're listening to WUDR, Dayton, Ohio,
Did we hit your deadline?
Perfectly.
UDR, student-run radio at the University of Dayton.
Art, thanks for playing my music too.
Oh, happy to do it.
It's a big deal to hear your songs on the radio.
Oh, happy to do it.
Thank you.
Bye, Facebook people. Remember, June 1st. June 1st, you can get the music. June 8th, you can go to the show and see this fine man and this fine man play music for you at the Yellow Cab Tavern. Thank you for watching, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.